Anthony Grassi here for D3 Ticker at the 2025 NACDA Convention. Happy to sit down with Lyon College Director of Athletics, Kevin Jenkins. Kevin, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, Anthony, thank you. I'm excited to be here, and it's an honor to be able to sit and talk to you today.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. As we sit here right now, you guys are just about to enter your first full year as members of Division III. What has that transition been like?
Well, we started that process. It seems like it's been several years ago, but in 21, 22, discussions started and made the provisional membership application. And then we were accepted for exploratory. Then we turned around and thought we did really good, but then decided to fill out the waiver to get the exploratory year waived and just begin year one. And so we submitted that again in May, and it was approved in late June, early July. And so we have just now completed, we've done 3 years, but we have just now completed year number 3, submitted all the reports, and now just waiting for the answer back from the NCAA, hoping that we have done everything that has been asked, and we are ready to be official members on September 1, 2025.
So over the last few years, what have been the biggest challenges going through that transition process?
I think the very first one was basically we were at in NAIA scholarships. Mm-hmm. That was the discussion with student athletes, coaches, all involved, is how's that's going to affect my scholarship. And then, but we had a good plan laid out with things that had been put in place, the discussions that were had, and it was one, losing coaches hurt a little bit in recruitment because we did lose some because they wanted to be around the scholarship model, which I totally understand. But the Division III model has been a good fit for us, and it's one where we have always kind of been in that model or that mission and philosophy to align with Division III. We've got a very good academic institution. We've got great student athletes, and so it was a good thing for us, and it was probably time for us to make that move to go NCAA Division III.
Within the athletic department, what were the conversations like to make sure that everybody was on that same team? You mentioned some of the coaches having maybe a different model that they preferred for athletics, but given all the changes that are going on in small college mm-hmm. athletics, what was that conversation like internally with your staff and coaches?
Well, it was one, whenever we did make the announcement, we had worked alongside our president and some of the other folks on campus to make sure we were ready. And for the announcement, we wanted to make sure that we told the NAIA, we didn't want them to catch anybody off guard. But then we met with coaches first and answered questions the best we could. And then we had another session where we visited with our SAC group, student athletes, mm-hmm. where they could answer questions to their teammates if they had them, because it's hard to sit down and talk to 400 student athletes and get them all together on a midday during the week. So it was a challenge, but we assured our coaches that we were going to take care of them and we were going to continue to provide a quality athletic program, in which I think we have.
And through this process, the alignment through your athletic department is one thing, but the alignment through the rest of the college is another. So how integral was the rest of the college's leadership and your president through this process to make sure that the move to Division III was the right fit for the institution, not just athletics?
Well, it was one where we were working directly, like I said, with the president, but then our FAR was involved, and we were working, simultaneously and visiting with the faculty and talking to them about the talking points of whenever the kids come to class, because there's going to be a little bit of concern, fear about what's going to happen to my scholarship. Am I going to be able to come back and play? What will that all look like next year for them? Because it happened in February, and then we also had to get our advancement team on board, because you have donors who are, some of them like the scholarship model, and so we had to really educate people on how this is going to help, not hinder, but be a good thing for Lyon and the Batesville community where we're at.
What were those conversations with donors like to try to convince them maybe that the model that you were pursuing was the best model for the college as a whole in athletics?
Well, it's one where we wanted to make sure that we kind of educated them that we were changing divisions, but we still were going to provide the same type of experience. We were going to do the same things. We were going to have basketball games. We were going to have football games. We still needed their support to provide that, what I'd say, great experience both on and off the field, off the floor for our student athletes. And so we had meetings with them, and then we also had some FAQs that we would send out just to kind of help educate them on, because there's going to be new rules that were coming on some of the things that they could and couldn't do when working with our student athletes. So it was a challenge, but it all came back as turned out very well.
One of the big projects you guys have going on campus, you're in the midst of fundraising for a new football stadium. As we sit here right now, what is the status of that, and what's maybe the timeline for getting that thing built out to what you guys ultimately want it to be?
Oh, we have, of course, we announced it in the spring that, or maybe right around Christmas time, that we were going to have a football stadium around a turf field that we already had. And so we had some donors come up and come forward to help us. And the stadium is going to be called Bad Boy Mower Stadium. If you're familiar with the zero-turn mowers that are manufactured there in Batesville, that company was founded and had several, which I was fortunate enough as the basketball coach, a lot of the guys that were founding members of the Bad Boy Mowers company played for us. And so, but now we have some other connections, and a lot of those guys have moved on and doing some different things, which they're always still really good to us. But we are now with, when I left to come here, we had, the bleachers were up. The press box was it was up too. We're beginning to get the lower level of the restrooms completed, then the upper level and where the press box is going to be. We're going to have at least 600 seating, and we're hopefully that this phase one that we're calling it, which will allow us to play home football games on our campus instead of going over to a local high school. First home game's supposed to be scheduled for September the 13th. So we're working hard, and I think the company that's working on that has guaranteed it. But there's some other plans for phase two that will be a pavilion type area for some fundraising, tailgating things, and then and we're hoping right now we weren't able to get a video board, but we're hoping maybe a video board will come along in the future with donations and things that will be coming forward as people see the project as it comes out of the ground. But we're very excited, and it's going to be a hectic Saturday because there's going to be a lot of people come, but we're going to have a fun time.
How has that maybe changed the operations? Obviously, being at a different facility is one thing, but the operation around having the event on campus, all the things you can do around that maybe you could have been limited in doing at an outside venue.
Well, I think that is a huge kind of conversation that we're having right now. We're meeting at least once a week or at least twice a week just to talk about game day. We call it our game day task force, just to kind of see where we're at when it comes to parking, when it comes to tailgating areas, when it comes to ticketing, how that all works and how it's all going to go. Well, we're going to get people to and from our campus because it's not hard to find, but we're in a community, and so you just got streets that are just normal. You don't have a lot of traffic. Like we're going to the high school, we could there was one you could get the people in and out and things. So then the concessionaire, and then just everything else is it's going to be a little different than what we kind of had it. I kind of had it mapped out for 10 years since we've been playing over at the high school. Now I'm going to have to learn a new system and how it's all going to work. And there's going to be some things that will, after the first game, we'll go, this didn't work, and we're going to have to change it. So it's going to be kind of a trial and error type, making sure it all comes off. But the number one thing is we're going to have a good experience for our kids. They're going to be on campus. Our student athletes, our faculty, and the community can come and celebrate our football team on campus.
The longer term vision for that facility, what do you see as the impact longer term? Obviously, September 3rd, it's going to be fun to have everybody on campus. But as you think about additional phases to the facility, growing the engagement within the community in conjunction with that, what does the long-term vision maybe look like in your head?
I think it's a vision that you always would like to be able to say that we would be a site for maybe postseason high school football games or some games that we might be able to bring in. But it's also, we have it marked off, and it is now, we've got a turf field that's playable for soccer. and so we're going to be able to engage there. I don't know. I think everybody asks about even will it be incorporated into maybe graduation day, but we've got some other areas across campus that are kind of our traditional areas for graduation. And then if we grow to where we need that space, then yes, or it gets to where it's a bad rainy day the night before and the Grassi area is where it's at and it's a muddy mess, then we can be able to get up there and do some things. But we're gonna utilize it for many different things. We've utilized it for camps. Our student athletes have been able to organize events where it comes to whether it be mini clinics, different things that are to use it. And then a lot of our other sports that don't have turf fields will go up there when it is raining and their field might be a little wet. They can, softball and baseball can get up there and hit the ball around in the spring. So it's nice.
For sure. How has, we were talking a little bit about this before we started, but what has been maybe the influence of or athletics' role in supporting the enrollment of the institution? You imagine as things continue to grow at Lyon College, how has athletics been involved in that? What have maybe been some other positive moves that the college has made to help grow the enrollment of the institution?
Well, it kind of started off, I guess, I was there. I've been there for, this will be starting my year number 40 for myself at the college, and I had numerous different roles. Whenever I became the AD, I was still the basketball coach, and it came time where we felt like, the president and I felt like it was time for the AD not to be coaching a sport. And he gave me the opportunity, you can still coach basketball or you can be the AD. And so I had two girls that were getting ready to start their sports careers, and so I decided I'd step away and be able to watch them do some things. And so we had 9 sports at that time, and that was in 2009, and then 2013, and then we brought in football, we brought in men's and women's wrestling, we brought back cross country, we brought back track and field, and so it has been, athletics has played a big part in the enrollment management of the institution. And so now we've probably got a little over 400 student athletes, and probably about 60 to 65% of our student body are student athletes. And it's a good thing to have those kids on our campus. They're very dedicated to their sport, but they're also very detailed oriented, and they do a good job of making things work with their classwork and their practice schedules, and then some of them even have jobs. So it's really it's a fun to have that many kids on our campus.
That transition from coach to coach and AD to just AD, was that a difficult decision to walk away from coaching at that time? I mean, what were some of obviously the personal side, that's completely understandable, but from the professional side, what were maybe some of the considerations that you thought through? Because there are others, obviously, that are in that role and that have made that transition as well.
Yeah. And it's one where I think, for me, it was one where we were really, in our basketball program, I felt like, not that I wasn't doing a good job with the coaching side, is that I was spending a lot of time making sure everything else was taken care of, and I didn't feel like those student athletes were getting what they needed. And then too, a little bit of it, 27 years of riding on the bus, the recruiting takes its toll a little bit, and so I thought it might be time for a little fresh start for me away from that. Really challenged though whenever the kids came back on campus in August, and they were in the gym doing a little playing, doing things. I wasn't going up there. I wasn't the one in charge. And so there was times I would just have to, maybe about 3 o'clock, I'd just have to go home and get away from it, because that was in my blood and things. So now, probably whenever they left on that first road trip and they were loading up on those white vans to take off to a game in about 2.5 hours, and I didn't have to drive, that was probably might have took a deep breath and said, okay, that's why I did it. So not because I enjoyed being around the kids and things, and I still do, but that travel and the recruiting is a challenge.
So as you made that transition, you're now entering year 40 at the college. What has that longevity meant for you to be able to tap into basically every part of the college and have that relationship everywhere so that everybody understands the value that athletics brings?
And it's one where I've been one that have been there and been able to see the college grow, the college change, and I know been able to have conversation and the connections with, whether it be the business office, whether it be advancement, whether it be the faculty, student life, enrollment services. It's just one where the history and the knowledge that I do have has been valuable to help piece together the connections between athletics and enrollment and things whenever, or advancement. When we do have new people come in those departments, it's easy for me to, with being there a long time, and be able to talk to them and get them on board with what we're doing in athletics. So it's one where I've watched the college grow and watched it through some tough times, but it's been one where we've always been able to sustain and continue to grow and bring in kids to be able to give them an opportunity, what I say in athletics, to participate in a sport they love and get a good quality education. And that's the number one thing. I know we want them to play and be really, really good, but the number one thing and the mission of the institution is to make sure we get them educated and prepared for life. If they make it to the pros, great, but we want to make sure they've got a degree when they leave our place.
Absolutely. That's the reason we do it.
You say.
As you've made through your tenure, especially as the AD, you've gone through a handful of presidential transitions. How have you handled each one of those? Maybe what have you learned through each one of those to help you better prepare for the next leadership transition? And obviously your latest transition was a few years ago.
Yes, and it's one where we have, you look at people's leadership styles and how they handle different things. And I know the president that when I took over as the AD, he was coming in, and so we were kind of new together. And he was a former faculty member, so he knew me as a student at one time. So it was good. That was a good transition, and he was definitely eager to help and wanted to make sure things were done correctly. The next president we had come in was one that was a business-oriented guy. He was out of college, but had more business background. And with my degree, I got a degree in business, and so that kind of helped me kind of connect and understand what his goals and objectives of what he thought the institute would be. And then our new president, she's not new now, but Dr. Melissa Tavener, she was our provost, and she rose up into that role. And so I got to visit with her as the director of athletics when we were dealing with whether it be class schedules, just things that needed to be done across campus on the academic side, because we've got very important things. The kids got to go to class. They got to be meeting the requirements that are necessary for their degrees. So we're definitely, it's been I think now when you look at it, is being able to adjust to one that's new on the job and maybe new to campus, and then one that's definitely really didn't have a good far as feel of what was there, to be able to get out and point him into some directions to help us raise some money. And then Dr. Tavener has been one. She's been very good to be able to, she's been instrumental in helping us lead us through this transition, but she's been very good to step back and let the athletic program and the athletic director and the other staff work alongside each other to make the decisions. And that's what I think I tried to do. Is I don't know everything there is to know about the coaching world, so I try to hire the people that I think can lead our kids and step back and let them do the coaching and things like that. And I try to help them be the behind the scenes guy, just to assist them for what they need, and whatever that arises, I try to be there for them.
Has that always been your leadership style, through coaching all the way through your tenure as the AD?
Yeah, I think when I was coaching, I was one where I played for two good coaches, really three high school coaches, and two. I was at a junior college, and then I came to Lyon or Arkansas College back in the day. But I always was one, I felt like you did all your work and practice, and you got ready, and you went into that game, and there's decisions made. But a lot of the things that you work on, I think I look at this in coaching, probably the last 3 minutes before halftime, and just use basketball, and then is critical in what decisions the coach makes, because I think you can make some moves and things there. And then I think coming right out of halftime, you've got to bring that team out and be ready, because that's where you can also make a statement there. And then that last 2 minutes of that basketball game, I mean, that is where I think you look and see whether the coaches that are the ones getting it done are the ones that have the ability to move, react in that last 2-3 minutes, whether it be basketball, that last inning of baseball, whatever it may be. So, but that's been kind of me. This is that, hey, we've got our work done. Now it's time to what we've done and let it go.
Actually, this last question before we wrap. As you enter your 40 at the college, how have you gone about staying fresh in your leadership approach, maintaining, basically keeping the energy up for everybody? Obviously, athletics is fun. Athletics has high energy, but the message that you bring every year, how are you tweaking that maybe to make sure you are helping to move the athletic department forward in the way that you want?
Well, one of the things that I try to do is I try to get out and go to things like this, learn things, bring things back new. That might be something that we haven't done, or it's just great to go back or come to events like this and visit with colleagues, networking, and say, okay, yeah, we're doing that, and it's working. No, we don't need to change. It seems to be going very well, but it's when we're always trying to find fresh ideas. We've got a meeting next week when we get back, and we're working with our enrollment team, and we're just bringing individuals from across campus that might be new to the campus or different departments, things that are going to be happening for 25, 26, just to get those people in front of our coaches where they can put a face with a name, and just to do it's an ever-changing world. The student athletes are changing. Social media is changing things rapidly and furious. So we're just, I try to be as, I'm not saying hands-on, but I try to be aware and seeing what's actually happening out there in the world to make sure I can bring nuggets back to our team and our coaches.
Excellent. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining me today at the 2025 NACDA Convention.
Thank you very much for having me.